We are now live and recording. Not really. We're not live actually. We're just recording.
I was gonna say.
Um,
First ever commit. What are we looking at?
This is not the first ever commit. This one was on March 19th of 2022.
So this is about a month and a half into development.
Can you guys see this?
No.
That's right. So I will have to take a moment to quickly destroy my OBS. What were you about to say, Connor, before I really cut you off?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Alright, future Connor, when you inevitably hear this again in the future, I want to let you know I see you. My brain's...
Continue. Alright.
This is the iconic dungeon build.
The iconic coffee dungeon. Here we have a functioning bed, a bunch of coffee beans, a bunch of coffee grounds, a coffee brewer, a coffee mug.
I don't know, Matt. Those coffee beans kind of just look like cubes to me. Are we sure that at this point in the development we were even looking anything like a coffee making game?
I mean, we weren't looking like it, but I've told Unity to, you know, when it thinks about these cubes, it thinks about them as if they were coffee beans.
Really, I guess the highlight of this build is just how far we come from nothing at all to a initial working mechanic.
I remember messing around with the head bobbing a lot in this scene, just walking back and forth like this. When I was making the early player controls, and I don't remember exactly why I set this testing environment up with materials. It was most likely to test settings with the render pipeline, but I don't remember at this point. However, it became the coffee dungeon of game development testing, where I created the first machine for the player to interact with after creating some basic. This cube does something when you click on it.
What does it do?
It says it spits out a line to the console that says something.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's...
I don't think this in this version does anything. The script attached to it. Oh no, it does. It does do something.
But these are just extraneous things that we're working on. The highlight of this build really is the initial coffee making.
Yeah, which requires some form of ingredient to grind and output into another form. Conversion. And that was that. We got out some questionable substance, and
that almost looks like a flattened pile of shit. Okay, but look at that. That is some liquid coming out of a machine into a cup, ready for consumption.
Yeah, don't have the ability to really do anything.
Oh. I remember during around this phase that this was primarily you working in this scene.
Yeah. That
this was predominantly your machine playground. I think around this time is when we also started experimenting with customers. Do we have one of my scenes?
The tools that you were using to
So around this point in development, I was using this little grid I probably cut up of somebody's GitHub page for tutorial, and I was working with customers. These little red cylinders are my idea of customers, and I was trying to just get them to have a specific path and go throughout the coffee shop in a specific way. And then when they have a line that they need to stand in order to start ordering their coffee, when they hit the line, they would end up starting to form one. So we have the basic player controller, and then these customers have some set points they're trying to get to, and in between those points there's a line they gotta wait in. And I think you can actually talk to them in this version as well to get them to come out of line.
Yes. You can. The very archaic dialogue system. Early things, early attempts.
Yeah,
Showing-
early.
showing growth in progress.
London, what was the art department doing at this stage in development? This was at just the beginning.
Our game, we inevitably decided to do something that was a bit of an in-between. That was a combination of voxel, some low poly assets as well. Actually, this is now a matte screen. This is the coffee shop layout that Brendan and I inevitably designed, and then I went through and I modeled in Magic Voxel cubes, basically. And then from there, we handed it over to Zach, who's our lead character artist, and he helped significantly with trying to unwrap and optimize this model because it was it was a task in and of itself. But yeah, this was the very first iteration of the shop that we had, and technically it's actually still the one we're using, albeit with a lot of cosmetic improvements.
I'm seeing here some of those first like handful of voxel art pieces, the hot plate, cups, the various machines that we ended up initializing, couch. I like all the beams inside this building. You can clearly tell are like voxel with, they're not like at these smooth angles, but they kind of go up in ticks. I think with just all these cups here, this is probably one of our demo scenes. So that we initially had to showcase everything we had developed up until this point. And I think all of these machines work. And I think this red machine that you were currently looking at, the coffee brewer, I think at this point it probably has, that functionality where you can take off the top and you have to put a filter in, right?
I think filters. Nope, it does not yet require filters. It can be filled with grounds. Looks like there was some bugs with the machine itself though, and the pouring. So somewhat functional. The coffee grinder worked. We can check if the espresso maker works.
I don't believe there's any espresso beans.
I think I just put some in there. Yep, so the espresso maker at the very least works.
Heck yeah.
Kind of very. It definitely takes me back looking at the coffee grinder model, because I think that model I did in, I want to say, the span of like 3 hours one night, and it was like middle of the night. I think I finished it at like 1 a.m. or something, because I think prior to this we'd been using I made a bunch of like gray box models, and it was like placeholder gray textures, and it just looked gross. So I just speed modeled like a sort of a circular coffee grinder with that kind of green texture on it.
Customer spawner right here.
Yeah, and then just tab the boolean a couple of times, on and off.
Yay, we have dogs spawning now.
All right, goodbye cylinder-based customers. At this point in the game, we had one of our talented 3D character artists design a specialty customer that appears in our game. 3 Dogs in a Trench Coat was our working title for this character during development, and it became the placeholder for all our customer testing at this point. I think if we talk to them, we probably have a little bit more.
At this point, we might not be able to talk to them from behind the counter, but we still do see the very early dialogue popping up.
And they end up transitioning from like the order line to the waiting for their order, waiting to order versus waiting for the order. They're kind of simple. They don't quite grasp the idea of how to face forward in line yet, how to move with animations. That all is going to come later, but as like a customer standpoint, this is like the foundations for how we wanted them to act in the game, just to line up to get their order, to wait for the order. Seems like there's still a few bugs. They might be a little impatient at times, but it's the beginnings of where we're about to go.
There
we go.
Hey.
This has the landscape, a few more assets to populate the scene. Haven't gotten to our entire the surrounding coffee shop area is still in a pretty early state in this commit. This was something that gave the scene a lot more of a...
No longer are we living in a void world. We're living in a truly nature-inspired Sierra Mountains type landscape with twin waterfalls emerging into this river outside this coffee shop. I think this was around the time that I was having finals at University of Maryland, but the class itself for Moore Park was coming to a close, so the team was trying to build out a demo scene to be presented to the teacher and the class as the fruits of the semester's length of hard work.
Alright, well, I can see one thing for sure. We now have filters, coffee beans.
Our beans are finally no longer cubic shaped. They are low poly, it seems, not quite voxel. Now with the
crap pile.
I think at this point we probably have a change to our liquid dynamic. So if you want to pour the drink without the cup for a second, see that the way our liquid falls ends up having it like pile upward, which I don't know if we highlighted before. We also have this button in the bottom left corner, which I imagine is our way to start the game.
Oh. We get customers.
It looks like there's animations now for this Three Dogs in a Trench Coat character as he's sitting patiently for his order to be prepared. It also seems in that top right corner we have the beginnings of our reputation meter. This is one way we were examining how to play the game to have an ending, whether good or bad, is to represent how much you match the customer's desired order. And at the moment, there's no way for the player to know what the customer's order is, but nonetheless, they have an assigned drink that they want to take, and you have the ability to either give them espresso, coffee, or a mix between the two. And if you get it correct by guessing, then your reputation would go up. Otherwise, your reputation would go down if your drink was not quite accurate enough. So these are all systems that we are setting up to slowly merge together into a more unified gameplay experience.
Something else I find very funny looking at this scene we have here is that the model to the right is rather tiny compared to the one that's currently in the scene. Latest build.
What is?
Oh, that oven model. That's
yeah.
right next to the radio. Yeah, and it does work. But yeah, it definitely goes to show. At this point, we were getting a lot of the art assets in, but there was a lot of polish. There's a lot of great art in this scene, but it's still amazing. Even for this, the progress we've made.
Absolutely. We do have that functioning door with the AI pathing, and more correctly in the past, standing in line. There's a lot of mechanical fixes under the hood in this one. There's not as many like outright in your face changes.
Oh my gosh, all the tiny cars.
We have a little bit of a more populated scene here.
Yeah, it's funny about the cars was I had modeled that particular car model sort of on a whim. I asked Natalie, who was the art lead during spring semester. I said, hey, can I work on sort of a non-priority thing? I was thinking maybe like a car to kind of work as like a story, basically prop, to establish that, hey, the players just moved into the shop, and she was like, yeah, go ahead. And so I spent like probably like 3 or 4 days trying to work on that model to get look right and to try and fuse the low poly aesthetic together with the voxel. And I finished it and I showed it to everybody, and they quite liked it. But one of our designers, I believe Isabel, she said, "But can we have toy car versions of it?" And like immediately, we were like, "Ah, yes, we have to do that." So we took that model and then shrunk it down. And then I think I did a modified version that had all of the insides taken out, so it was more akin to like an actual toy car. So those were definitely kind of a happy accident sort of thing. Oh yeah, yeah. I also had some extra space on the texture page, so I threw in some coffee-based parodies of some movies.
So got here, Donnie Dark Roast.
Rosemary's Barista.
My favorite, Milk Fiction.
Yep.
One thing right off the bat, this upstairs area looks very lived in, much more populated with assets.
Yeah, so the Playcube 360, 6 input ports for controllers and accessories, 2 memory card ports, the power button, which is, funnily enough, a red ring, and detail you can't actually see from here, I don't think, but is on the model, is it has 2 handles, taking design cues from the GameCube. Somebody modeled, say, a GameCube at some point, and then our teacher during the semester brought up, "That's a great looking model, but can't use the GameCube because that's copyrighted." And so I volunteered to do like sort of a mock GameCube, and the result was the Playcube 360.
Yay, nay. I can't hear it because you're not streaming the correct thing for us, but is it going into OBS recording?
Yep, OBS can hear it.
Awesome. And we also have the piano, plays music. And we have a couple basic animations like that. I think the Playcube probably opens and closes, the trash can opens and closes. This entire kitchen is just looking more well stocked than it had in our previous version. We got so many more art assets that make this entire area feel lived in. I think that was one of the main goals for IndieCade, is to make it the areas that the player could explore to seem as complete as we possibly could make it. It looks like we've got dispensers for various ingredient types now, both for the filters, for the coffee.
Yeah, Zach I did make a B model on the plane back, and I think I also made, it was like a sort of like Fruit-esque, quirky food item, and it was like mac and bees, like honey drizzled mac and cheese with cinnamon and clover. I don't even. Ooh, did I even? I don't think we ever uploaded that one to the project. I don't think we have mac and bees yet. Still.
Damn.
I forgot about that one.
In due time, pouring. Looks like we're not mixing the ingredients, but look, that cork board from your trip is over to the left side. That gives us a little bit of instructions. I think at this point we have a main menu as well, if you'd like to start from the main menu scene, Matt.
Nope. Alright. Cool.
Thanks, Grandpa.
Thanks, Gramps. I think at this point we have a higher variety of customers that are able to come into your scene, and we also have them having the initial capabilities of describing what their drink order is, as well as some basic dialogue to go with what they're saying to you. So this would probably be a coffee that this character owns. Actually, I think at this point in the game this probably stands for espresso.
I believe so.
We switched what the UI icon stand for, and we had a back and forth between what should be the icon for coffee and what should be for espresso. Matt is pouring out their drink in front of them, And they did
Nope,
not like that.
They either wanted a coffee or they didn't like how much espresso they got. And what?
Another
Milk and
detail I
espresso.
like is the dialogue boxes. We have some placeholder names for the characters, and I think some of those we took from members of the dev team.
Yeah.
It's very funny, you know, when you're playtesting and you don't expect your own name to pop up, and then you know, it says London, and then some very curt piece of dialogue.
Yeah, this newer dialogue system was developed by our narrative designer and one of our 3D artists, Layla. All of these men that you're seeing before you were designed by our 3D character artist, Zach. And this really helps fill out the game to not just have dogs in trench coats ordering coffee and have him set aside to be a much more special and unique character that we had always intended him, intended them to be. It looks like we had a design change from having the pile of beans to now be a single cube to represent the ground coffee.
We're at some point going to be doing a full rehaul of the characters to give them a pixel art retexture.
Okay. Do we want to demo a more recent build of this game?
Do we want to demo a more recent build, or do we want to slowly drip that to our followers through social media?
Maybe we're gonna have to save it for you all till next time, because we got
an hour and 8 minutes too.
Damn. And that's before you edit it.
We're not editing this.
Like
God
a
damn
full-length
it.
documentary.
Yeah.
If anyone stayed to the end, thank you for watching. We're going to be showing more of these content on a bi-weekly basis to really show off what we're working towards as a development team. This has been London, Connor, and Matthew
Thank
from
you all
Polyblossom.
for watching. And
We'll
I hope
see
you're all
you
excited for
in the next video.
Cozy Cabin and Creepy Cabin.
Chaos Cabin.